We've heard two completely contrarian views. One which feels the growth story is under danger. That's the word also coming from Davos. And we're hearing another view from within the government that the picture is not as bleak as it's being painted to be.
Well, that growth is there is probably despite the government in the last 18 months. Only the last 18 months. Two of the single biggest decisions taken by this government, economic decisions, one would be the decontrol of petroleum prices, and the other would be conducting a 3G auction with a legal framework, everything in place, and actually realizing 102,000 crores. But it's all got lost in this Tower of Babel called corruption, scams.
In the midst of these economic issues, there is no doubt that there is a very healthy questioning of the process of governance as a whole. I think that's an important point. But that has to be solved in the next 8 to 10 months or a year. I agree with you.
Yeah, because there is a paralysis in governance, and that is the single biggest issue.
I just want to respond. While acknowledging and accepting that there are serious issues, I said it upfront. The fact is that on the larger issues of whatever growth and other things which we are talking, I think I tend to slightly disagree with my friend Arindam about the figures and the percentages which you mentioned. And one must understand that India is still a developing economy. We cannot compare India with the United States or Germany or any other developed country. And look at our issues are very different. We have a huge population. We have had poverty historically, which has come down. It's not a question that no government, whether it's this government or tomorrow any other government, cannot address all these issues, and there's no magic wand which is going to make everything, hunky-dory overnight. There could be good things, like what you mentioned about petroleum decontrol. It's happened when? It's happened in this government. People say UPA 2 took no fundamental decisions. Petroleum product decontrol of petrol prices has taken place very recently. Some of the people have acknowledged it as a good decision. Some have criticized it. Of course, whichever side you're on. The other side is even about 3G auction. The 3G auction is a benchmark for the 2G. It's only because this government took that bold decision and took 102 lakh crores, what you rightly pointed out.
Okay.
So there are decisions which have been taken. It's not that government is not, but yes, other issues have become towering issues, and therefore they must be addressed.
All right, the next question that
also, Rahul, it's not a 0-1 the answer. I think both things are happening. There is growth. There is a lot of discussion on corruption, and in some ways I think it's good. Because for long we've said there is corruption in the system. Now people are saying, one, we've had enough. We don't want any more of this. And unless you acknowledge a problem, you're never going to be able to find a solution either.
But it will also be argued that the 3G auctioning which is being spoken about also happened because the government had no option after what happened with the 2G scam.
So. I don't think that was the only issue.
Let me put this question before the panel. I want to hear from all of you on this. Has UPA 2 forgotten all about economic reform? We'll start with you, Mr. Arun Bharatram.
Yeah, on the reform side, I'd just like to make one statement of caution. With the growth that we've seen in this year and in the last year, the tax collection of the government has been substantial. Added to that was the auction of the 3G. And this has led to somewhat of a lower deficit. In fact, people are now saying that it may be even lower than 5.5%. But our worry is what's going to happen next year. If reforms do not take place, if there is not sufficient traction in industry, and some of us in industry are seeing that, for example, the capital goods sector, evidently some slowdown is taking place there, which means the impact of this will be felt 6 months, 8 months down the line. And if the tax buoyancy that we've seen in the past, and also the reforms in the tax system do not take place immediately, and these reforms don't come into being, I think the government is going to start facing problems.
December exports have been the highest ever recorded in India's history.
Yeah, but
the US economy is looking up now, and that will translate very well into the IT and the other related sectors.
Certainly,
so there are we are also linked to a global situation. It's not in isolation.
When we did the first flush of reforms, or even subsequently, every time we've done something, the result actually has been very clear, and I would agree with the minister that all of this has had a salutary impact on India and Indians, the Indian economy and people at large. So I think it is about time we begin to address the next phase, whether it's taxation, whether it's land reform, whether it's agriculture reform, or it's things like labor reform. You know, some of these have become holy cows. You don't want to talk about them.